What a win. What a win. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Ryan Ripken Show post-game show. I'm Zach Bollinger. I think Kevin's joining me at some point. But that's besides the point. The Baltimore Orioles beat the Tampa Bay Rays for the third straight game by a score of 9-2. Maybe for a little bit it was competitive. Rays bring it to within 3-2 in the fifth inning. Worry there a little bit. But besides, I'd say an inning, half inning, Orioles dominated this one. Orioles absolutely dominated this one, and it all started with the man on the bump, Grayson Rodriguez. 5 perfect innings to start out the game. Joe, I also saw you up here talk about it. Yes, I did notice the announcers Joe. I know, Joe. I know. As soon as he said it, I thought the same thing of don't bring up a perfect game, especially this early on. I was like, announcers, come on, baby. Let's not talk about it. But seeing a lot of people absolutely fired up for Grayson Rodriguez. And how can you not be? Yeah, he ends up getting 2 earned runs, both coming in, or the second one coming on by Dylan Tate. It looked like hopefully Tate would be able to get him out of there a little bit more unscathed, but doesn't matter. What I liked the most was even when the Orioles fell down, or not fell down, when the Rays got it to within 3-2, it kind of felt like one of those games where you were like, oh man, is this about to be a bullpen game? We know the Orioles record in one-run games is not the best. They have a losing record. So you started having those the thoughts you don't like having start creeping in your head there saying, hey, is this going to be another one of those dramatic games? Am I going to have to get the blood pressure pump out? Are we going to have to take blood pressure tests? But the very next inning, the Orioles put up a 2-spot of their own, followed by a 4-spot in the 8th, courtesy of Mr. Adley Rutschman himself and the grand slam. Man, it's hard to even know where to start with today. So let's do this. In the comments, let's do 1 up, 1 down. 1 good, 1 bad that you saw for today. So 1 up. I mean, there's so many ups. I could go over a million ups. You have Grayson. You have Adley. Colton Cowser, what? 2-hit game? Jordan Westbrook, 2-hit game, because of course he did. Jordan Westbrook probably had the quietest 3-hit game of all time. Adley, 3 hits. Gunnar, 2 hits. But the guy I'm going with, Cedric Mullins? The triple, 2 for 4 and a run. Don't let Ceddy get hot. We talked about it. We've said it on this show a million times. Do not let Ceddy get hot, because we've seen a lot of guys in this lineup get hot, and it's infectious. When Cedric Mullins is hot and doing what he does, it changes the complete landscape of the offense. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Cedric Mullins is back. I'm not going to say, oh, after these 2 hits, after this 2 for 4, oh, he's back. Throw him out there every day. It's completely back. No. But this was a beautiful sight to see, especially after Cedric. So many hard hit balls that just couldn't find the grass. You just felt awful for him at times. But love today. Get the confidence back. And you could see it on his face. When that first single hit, the relief. It was reminiscent of Jackson Holliday getting that first hit in the big leagues, and you just felt like the weight of the world lifted off his shoulders. Guys, I don't know who to go for 1 down. I think I'm going to have to agree with Casey here. It is probably Dylan Tate if I had to choose one. But kind of like the same situation that we had yesterday, it's a good thing if I'm sitting here going, I don't know who to give my one down to, because that means the Orioles played a pretty damn good game. Just all throughout, it felt like 1 through 9, even if they weren't producing at the plate. O'Hearn and Mountcastle both productive at bats. Ryan Mountcastle gets the RBI on the fielder's choice. Ramon Urias gets his walk. It felt like even when guys weren't getting hits, they were still having productive at bats. And this was a massive win. This was a massive win. I don't want people to downplay this. I don't want people to say, oh, after the first 2 games, they were going to get this win. They were supposed to win this. We saw last week, earlier this week, take the first 2 from Toronto real handedly. It looked like the Orioles were about to go for a 4-game sweep. Suddenly you get punched in the mouth for 2 straight games, it felt like. And then the panic started to creep back in. The Orioles Twitter started talking again. The comment section starts saying, what's wrong? Who do we get rid of? All of a sudden, DFA starts getting thrown around. The Orioles don't let that happen, though, this time. They go out there, and we talked about it last night on the show. Tim, I do want to bring this up. Ramon is one slow dude. The last leg of my parlay was Ramon Urias hit. It was the only thing that didn't hit. And when he got robbed up the middle by that, I had some choice words for the second baseman of the Tampa Bay Rays. But that's besides the point. This game was big, and we talked about it yesterday. This is why you drafted Grayson Rodriguez. This is why you went out and gave up assets for Corbin Burnes, because in a series where against a division rival, you take the first 2 on the road of a 4-game set, you're sitting there and you're going, we want to put the nail in the coffin. We want to hammer this home, get rid of them. How do you do that? You send 2 aces to the mound. Grayson today, and what did he do? Pitched like a damn ace. If you want to know what an ace pitch is like, that's what it does. 5 perfect innings from Grayson Rodriguez. And then where do you find yourself? Let's flip the script right now. Okay, let's pretend. I know it's majority, if not all people in here are Orioles fans, but let's flip the script. If you're Tampa Bay right now, you've had 2-3 demoralizing games where it just feels like the Orioles are whooping ass. They are just coming in there, they are getting it done, and they are leaving with a win every single night. And you're going, we have to salvage one game. We have to salvage one game. We cannot lose 4 games in the division like this at home to the Orioles. Then you look up and you see Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes on the mound tomorrow. I can't imagine what it's like right now. That's why the Orioles went out and they got these type of players. That's why they went and got Corbin Burnes, because in a moment where you say, hey, we want to go complete the sweep, we want to go get that first 4-game sweep in the Trop in, I don't even know. It's got to be, I think they said over 20 years, close to 20 years, if not more. It's been incredible. And shout out, I do want to say this, talking about the Trop, shout out every Oriole fan. If you've been there today or this weekend, let us know in the comments. Packed. Absolutely packed with Orioles fans. Oriole fans took over Tampa these past 3 games, and I'm looking to do it for the 4th time tomorrow and send them out with a sweep. Just an incredible day for the Orioles all around. So in the comments, I'm going to start going through kind of, going through some things that people are talking about. Hal says, I'll be there tomorrow. Awesome. Let us know how that goes. It looks absolutely incredible. So it should be an awesome time. Sean says, our fans are the best. Yes, great season of art. And it feels like, I got to agree with you, Sean. It feels like every single road game, the Orioles, that's the litmus test. That's what we all look at. Rockabacco tweeting the from the opposing fans, the Orioles in the home park. It gets me every time. Chills on the back of the neck. But this way I don't have to keep rambling on and we can have some more conversation. I'm going to bring on my other co-host, Kevin Ostreicher. Kevin, how we doing?
When you hit home runs, do it with men on base. Look when we ask, we receive.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about this Orioles team, my prop of the day.
Is that a snowball?
No.
Is that like supposed to be a
technically it's a moon.
All right.
But
spanking.
The reason I'm going to pretend this is the sun because Adley Rutschman is every Orioles fan's sunshine today. So, Zach, if you'll indulge me, if you want to sing with me, if you don't, you don't have to, but I'm going to sing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3. You are my sunshine, my little sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray.
I'm letting you solo it.
Never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take Adley Rutschman away. Hashtag extend Adley Rutschman.
Boom, Kevin. Bang. Bang. And right on cue. Deep Porter locked and loaded today. Love it. 3 3-baggers doesn't happen every day. Appreciate you, Deep Porter, as always. And 3-baggers. Triples are best. If you watch I Think You Should Leave, triples are best. You know the saying. But Kevin, we already did our 1 up, 1 down, but wanted to talk to you about it. Let's get yours.
My 1 up. You said Cedric. I mean, that was, again, we just steal each other's all the time. So mine was going to be Cedric. If I want to go somewhere other than Cedric, I mean, I'm just going to keep taking your guy, man. Jordan Westburg keeps on producing 3 for 5 day. We talked about how I went 1 for 5 yesterday, but produced in that one. Well, he gets 2 more hits today, and he's Mr. Consistent. Hashtag All-Star Jordan Westburg, by the way.
Yep.
Continues on that train. Absolutely should happen. But I heard you talk about Grayson a little bit earlier, and every time it happens, because it has been so long since this Orioles team has had a rotation like they've had this year.
Mm-hmm.
And every time that a guy goes out there and has a good start, I want to continue to highlight just how incredible the rotation as a whole has been. And Grayson just, again, he was locked and loaded. I know Tate, technically it's 2 runs because Tate gave it up, but whatever, right? It's still Grayson had a great outing today. And then this bullpen, again, even though Tate gave up the run that wasn't charged, Perez comes in and gives you an inning. And then Keegan Aiken comes in and does allow 3 hits, but gets through. So 3 strikeouts, does not allow a run. So we talk about how important this bullpen is and just finding ways. I mean, we talked a couple days ago how that bullpen's ERA was 0.6 or something. That has since gone down since the bullpen is not allowed to run, I believe, technically, because Tate was not charged, in 8 or 9 games consecutively now. So it's been incredible. Well, outside of the Kimbrel thing, but regardless, this bullpen's been incredible. But got to give a shout out to Grayson and got to give a shout out to Westy too.
Yeah, and I'm going through right now because I was curious. Adley Rutschman is batting .396 with runners in scoring position.
That's incredible.
That's fourth best in the league.
Fourth best.
That's 4th best in the league, only behind Salvador Perez, William Contreras, and Ty France.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie, this feels very off. Oh no, it's saying Adley only played 40 games, and he has not played 40 games.
Your filter's not right.
Yeah, I'm feeling. I just feel like this is.
Well, while you figure that out, Don C, shout out 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you for checking in, Don. Appreciate you, Don. And then we have just another Quantum with another 1. So appreciate you, Quantum.
Yeah, and just another Quantum. Actually, before I didn't even get to this one, so 2. Absolutely
2
appreciate it.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Appreciate you all. You guys are what help. You guys are what keeps this going because this is what makes it fun. Me and Kevin could sit here and talk to each other about the Orioles for hours at a time, and it would not be as fun without you guys, because it's the interactions like this and just talking, seeing all the comments, questions, all that. That's what makes this all fun. So we appreciate it. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We have a fun little guest tomorrow. We won't get too much into it, but I think a guest that Oriole fans will want to hear from. Maybe talk about some new experiences he's going through. So, So, keep an eye peeled for that tomorrow. But yeah, Kevin, where do we even start? I'm going to try to find this Adley stat again, but
yeah, I think let's shine a light on Cedric here for a couple of minutes. Dang, sounded like you threw that mic down. But
I know that's on me. I forget that I have to that I'm holding it now.
No, you're good.
Forgot to put the stand up.
Yeah, I just have mine sitting here. But Cedric has not had a great year this year, right? And we can all acknowledge that. We can all acknowledge it hasn't been great for him. But to see him with a 2-for-4 day-to-day, including that, seems like Cedric just loves the triples. Zach, doesn't he? Just seems like whenever Cedric needs something and he gets a hit, it's like, oh, okay, let's just get a triple out here. So Cedric is a guy, we've talked about it so many times before. When the Orioles are at their best, Cedric Mullins is producing, because when he's at his best, he's a two-way player. We know the defense is there. We know Cedric can play incredible defense out there in center, but the hits just haven't come for him this year. And sometimes all it takes is a game like this where, is Cedric going to hit 350 for the rest of the year? No, But to me, I'm curious to see what his next couple of games looks like. And it seemed like Brandon Hyde was just kind of brute forcing Mullins in the lineup at this point. Just say, all right, we're going to get you going. We're going to do it, Cedric. So go out there and do it. And again, it was time after time. And everyone's like, oh, what's with it? And obviously now, Zach, I don't know if you saw Hyde after the game said that Stowers and Hayes were both sore. So maybe that could have contributed to Mullins still being in the lineup, but maybe it was some blessing in disguise. So it was good to see him get on the board.
It was great to see him get on the board. And right before you got on, I talked about the sigh of relief you could see in his face when he first got that single, and it was just like, it was just the weight of the world was off his shoulders. Then he gets the triple, and you almost felt like, in a way, it was so poetic that he gets the triple second, because if he gets the triple first and then follows up with the single, you're like, okay, said he's hot. But he gets the single, gets the monkey off of his bat, and you're like, maybe this can start something for him. Then he immediately goes out and takes it to that next level, gets the triple, starts the rally once again, and it just felt like all in one. And those two at-bats, you just felt something was different. Suddenly, all that bad luck, all the downs, all the tough at-bats, the 106-mile-an-hour exit velocity right at guys, lining out to center field, lining out to the second baseman. So much went wrong. And then for his triple to hit off the diving player's glove, when DeLuca dove, I was like, not like this. Not like this.
The eighth time he's gotten robbed in the last 10 games. Man.
Yeah, you just felt like it was in the gap, and you're like, said he go. And then he dove, and I was like, no, don't do this. But what a way, after all the bad luck that he's had, for him to get that bounce off the glove and then get in the third. Just an awesome game, man. Just awesome all around. I can only imagine what Seti feels like right now. This has to be the best he's felt leaving this clubhouse, leaving the field in weeks. You saw how much he was pressing. Brandon Hyde talked about it. He's like, he's here, first person here every day taking extra swings. There's no one who wants to get this ship, straightened out more than Cedric Mullins. And for him to finally start seeing this, and it's like we said, Is Cedric back? Is Cedric going to hit 350 the rest of the year? Is Cedric going to be a 30-30 guy? Probably not. That's probably not going to happen. We're not saying he's back. We're not saying he's completely back. But what we've always said is when Cedric Mullins is going right, he changes this offense completely. Whether it's with his speed on the base paths, whether it's with his bat. We've seen him in clutch situations. Hell, he had the walk-off home run earlier this year. And then on top of all that, he's a gold glove, platinum glove-esque player in center field. You can't teach that. When Cedric is going well and when Cedric gets it going, he helps this team in so many ways. So that's why you don't give up on him. Is he going to be back? Probably. Like, when you consider back, is he going to go, like you said, hit 300 the rest of the way? That would be really cool. I think everyone would love that. But whether that happens or not, you just have to feel great that he went out there and he's starting to get it going. And what I'm looking for is tomorrow, get another hit. If he puts another hit in on it tomorrow, I absolutely love it. I'd absolutely love it. And I think that could be a huge, huge boost going forward.
Yeah, and that's it, right? Mullins has to capture this momentum, because just because he got 2 hits today does not mean all of a sudden he's going to get 2 hits every game or 1 hit every game or just break out of the slump completely. It's about slowly breaking through. And I think today was a really good start, right? I think look, everybody's excited for Cedric. I'm pumped for Cedric. But can we see it again tomorrow? Can we see it again whenever he's back in the lineup next after that? Can we get that just a little bit of consistency?
Yep,
and
exactly, I love this,
Brian. Yep, 2 singles is 2 doubles going to score runs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it
happened tonight after a single. Gunnar strikes out, but said he gets second. That changes that inning completely.
Yep,
like, it's the little things, and that's why, man.
Yeah,
it gets me fired up.
I'm rooting for him. I know, obviously, Ryan has been they were former teammates, obviously, so Ryan's a big Cedric guy, and he put on Twitter today that, all it takes is one to get going. And, he's never going to give up on Cedric. Even if he goes back into a slump again, Zach, we've said where it's a situation that Baltimore has enough outfielders where they don't have to play Cedric every day. But I don't see them DFAing him or optioning him. I don't see them optioning. They're not going to give up fully. So if they're not going to do that, Cedric has to repay them by at least being a little more consistent at the plate. And again, today was a really good start for that. Also, I see Jason. With the super sticker. Have we gotten a super sticker before?
Yeah, I think we've gotten one before.
This is the first time. I think I don't know.
Hey, Jason, first time. First one on prom.
There we go. First prom super sticker. So, I
also love how that's caught on. Thanks, Joe.
I think for maybe like the game that leads into the All-Star break, we have to dress up in like suits for the prom.
Oh, yeah. We'll do
at least one of these times. But I did not forget about my promise, which admittedly is coming, if this happens tomorrow, quite faster than I thought, where if the Orioles win tomorrow, I have to eat 4 super spicy pickles on stream to get my pickles up.
I called it too. I said, let's go 4-game sweep the Rays. Electric.
So look, obviously I want them to win tomorrow. So if that means I have to eat my spicy pickles on stream tomorrow, let's make it happen. So
yeah,
it's huge. What does that officially makes them 16-0-5 in the last 21 against AL East opponents?
16-0-5.
There it is.
16-0-5. And it's funny, we're talking about Cedric Mullins. We're talking about Cedric Mullins getting going. We talked about how one of the reasons that people are kind of upset with Cedric was there are a lot of options in the outfield. Another option, though, that maybe another get-right game, another triple, Colton Cowser.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew cows could fly, baby? Colton Cowser got me fired up in so many ways. One, him pretending to throw the pitch on the mound next to Yennier Cano.
that's going to be an all-time clip or GIF.
That just completely encapsulates the incredible vibes that are Colton Cowser. But besides that, just incredible. Colton Cowser, talk about another guy that we saw him talk about that stretch to start the year. Colton Cowser was carrying this team offensively. This team did not start the year off firing on all cylinders offensively. Obviously, the Adleys and Gunners did. You had the Mountcastles having their streaks. But for that first month, it felt like the third guy you'd one up after Adley and Gunner was Colton Cowser. Even I would say above Westy for that time. Obviously, now I just think if you want to talk about just the model of consistency, and Brian Roberts talked about it today, you want a guy who, if the Orioles are going to win multiple World Series, it's going to be because Jordan Westbrook's consistency. But through all that, this first half of the year, that first month of the year, Colton Cowser, man, if they get him going again, and I don't want people to look at May and just look at the stats, because it's really easy to look at the stats. Colton Cowser's analytics, he was the second unluckiest batter in all of baseball. All his metrics and analytics are up. They're higher than they were when he was hot. He's hitting the ball higher. He's striking out less. He's walking more. He's using the whole field more. But they're right at guys. So talk about a guy, if they can get him going again and these metrics stay where they are, he's going to get even hotter than he was before. He's going to be even more dominant. He came out firing on all cylinders. The league adjusted to him. Now it seems like he's finally readjusting to the league. And that's the game you play with. So if they can get Colton Cowser going, that changes so much for this team.
Yeah, and I mean, what a luxury it is for them to, again, if he can get it going, to have him hit out of the 7 spot consistently or the 6 spot consistently, right? Because with your offense, you have so many other guys in front of him. But then if Colton can, even if he's not back to what he was at the beginning of the season, even if he's just like steady level consistency, to have him hitting in the 7th spot, and then to have a guy like Mateo behind him, or if Urias continues to do what he's doing, or even a guy like Austin Hayes behind, like, it just, all these different players that the Orioles have is, my MO, one of my mantras this year has been, it doesn't always have to be Gunner, doesn't always have to be Adley, although admittedly it was very much so Adley today, but doesn't always have to be those guys, because it can one day be Colton Cowser. Another day it can be Ramon Urias. Then Jorge Mateo can get it going towards the bottom of the lineup. And like, that can take pressure off of guys. And it's why their depth is so important. It's why, even though guys aren't playing every day necessarily, but they're staying ready to get in that lineup, even in pinch hit situations. We saw O'Hearn almost bring the Orioles back couple of days ago on a pinch hit shot, which again, I think admittedly ripped the heart out of Orioles fans again.
There was no reason for that, Ryan. Next time Ryan comes on the show, I'm just going to straight up tell O'Hearn that. I'm telling O'Hearn, like, there was no reason for that. Like, I understand that you're just clutch. Ice is always in your veins, but stop it with that. That just hurt us.
Yeah. So again, the Orioles having their consistency in that lineup and the depth in that lineup really, really helps. Also, I see this comment, Zach, here. First of all, from Kevin. I like that name, by the way. I don't know, just something in my head. I don't know why, but Kevin's a very good name. Says, "Hey guys, first timer, love your takes. Keep it up. Appreciate you tuning in, Kevin."
Appreciate it.
Isn't it always weird to say your own name?
Yeah.
Like, when there's a Zach, do you say like, "Oh, what's up, Zach?" Mm-hmm. But you're like, "Oh wait, I'm Zach."
Yeah. Appreciate you, Kevin. Not this Kevin, but that Kevin in the comments.
Thank you.
That might be the first time someone says we get a lot of things about our takes being wrong, so I'm glad you enjoy them.
Yeah, we all get roasted. We all get flamed. It's how it goes. It's how it goes.
Yeah, when you talk sports as much as we do, you're bound to have bad takes.
Yep. Wow, my brother just sent me a picture of all of us at my other brother's graduation, and I am short. Both my brothers are like over 6 feet, and I'm 5'7". So
how did that happen? Oh,
I don't know. My parents are shorter. My dad's like 5'10", 5'11". My mom is like 5'2", 5'3". So like, okay, I'm like, yeah, I'm in the middle. But then, yeah, my other brother's like 6'2", and then and I'm the oldest. So it's just like,
Jesus, Kevin.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. Actually, something I did want to talk about, though, the Orioles bullpen and how its recent success, we've talked about before, coincides with the starters and how they're pitching.
Yep.
Got to give another round of applause to the starters. We've done it, already with, earlier in this show for Grayson, but man, is it so impressive what these starters are doing. and they're getting picked up by the bullpen as a reward. How do you reward your starters as the bullpen for going out there and giving you 6 innings every single night, and you only have to use 2 guys? The Orioles used 3 guys today because Dylan Tate went only a third of an inning to get out of the jam with Grayson. Besides that, they've used 2, I feel like, what feels like 6 out of the last 7 games. Like, they are only using 2 guys a night, it feels like. And it just keeps guys healthy. It keeps guys rested. It keeps them fully ready to when you get into a big situation where you need Cano to go out there in high leverage and strike someone out. When you need Kimbrel to go get you 3 outs, they're rested, and it's no longer okay, this is going to be tough. They need to use him, but he's pitched 3 of 4 games, so we'll see how it goes. The longer these starters go, the more rested this bullpen gets. And we've talked about it a bunch, Kevin. We don't think this bullpen's not bad. This bullpen is far from bad. This bullpen individually has a lot of guys that can be very, very good. And this bullpen can be a top bullpen in the league. You look for consistency. Does that mean that the Orioles don't need one more guy? No, I think we have said a million times, we've screamed from the mountaintops, go get that guy. Go get that guy that you can put in the end of the bullpen and shut it down anytime he comes in. I think they do that this trade deadline. But even before they go get that guy, if they continue to be rested, this bullpen is absolutely dominant at times when they're rested. And we've seen it again. Another example today.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're right. The bullpen is not bad. The word I would use is inconsistent. And that doesn't mean they're bad. It just means sometimes they're really good and sometimes they are really bad. But that doesn't mean that all the time. I mean, I want to run through some stats here with you quickly, Zach, and I don't think this encapsulates today's games. But so I'm assuming it takes out everything that's happened today. But the Orioles are 7th in bullpen ERA at 3.38. They're top 10 in strikeouts, home runs. Oh, wait, actually, no, wait, I did that wrong. They are not top 10 in strikeouts, but they're top 10 in walks given up in a good way. They don't give up a lot of homers. They're top 10 in terms of home runs given up as well. Mm-hmm. In terms of whip, they're actually 3rd in the entire MLB. Earned runs, they are 6th in a good way. They don't strike out a ton of guys, but it's just they're dominant for stretches, and then they'll have those like 1 or 2 or 3 games where it's like, okay, they can't hold the lead, or they give up these, 3-run leads, or they get a bunch of guys get on. The bullpen, if they can acquire one more, again, consistent arm, whether it's a high leverage guy, a flamethrower, whatever type of arm you feel like they need right now, whether you want them to get a middle inning guy, a late inning reliever. We're not talking about trades right now because, again, I think it's almost the same thing as the starter, Zach, where they're going to try every single in-house option before they feel like they have to make a move, because I don't think they're desperate. They're still winning games. They're in that fight with the Yankees for first place, which, by the way, I'm sure everybody's going to be watching that Dodger-Yankees game tonight. I know I will.
Go Dodgers, baby.
But in my opinion, this is why we talk about the Orioles and consistency being the main word we use, because the talent is there. We know these guys can play up to a different standard, just like we talk about with the offense. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, they do it sometimes, but they don't do it. They don't live up to their potential all the time. So if they can just get a little more consistent, and again, we've seen that over this stretch, it just makes this team so much harder to beat, especially when the offense is producing like they are now, and hopefully in the future continuing to hit those homers. That's a given essentially at this point, but to be able to get guys in when there are guys on, particularly with runners in scoring position. All 3 phases of baseball, all 3 phases, they go hand in hand with each other. Offense, starters, bullpen, obviously defense is, I guess, the 4th. But if everything is cooking for you and you have the talent like the Orioles do, you're going to be really hard to beat, especially come October.
Yeah, and real quick, I do want to say, I just looked, tonight is Tyler Glasnow versus Luis Gil. And just as a baseball fan, that's such a sexy matchup. Like, that is 2 dominant pitchers against 2 dominant lineups. Obviously, Soto is missing once again from the Yankees. Not sure if he'll be available or what the deal is there. But man, if you're a baseball fan, you gotta love this Dodgers-Yankees series. You have to love it, and you gotta love it even more if you're an Orioles fan watching the Dodgers take the first 2 games. I mean,
yeah, I know, and that's why I'm saying, man, once we get to those Orioles-Yankees series later in the year, those are going to be absolute cinema too. So I'm ready for them.
yeah.
What else do we got on the docket, man? How about Tony Taters, man?
Have I not? This is what he does.
You said it. You said it.
This is what he does. This is all Tony does. Is he goes on the worst slump you've ever seen for 4 weeks, and you're like, this is horrible. All he does is pop up. And then he goes for on a 2.5 week stretch of what we're in right now and what's about to start, I believe. He's just going to carry this. He has 5 home runs in 9 games. 9 games in just unreal. Unreal. His power is just stop throwing him the low ball. Thanks for coming, Kevin. All right. But as I was saying, nobody hits the low fastball or just the low ball period better than Tony Taters. If you're going to hang one belt high under the strike zone or just under the strike zone, I'm telling you right now, just look to the ump for a different ball because it is not coming back. How many times, Kevin, have we seen Tony just golf something that goes 400 feet? And I'm not even, I put this on Twitter. I'm not considering today a tater. I have officially said today is not a tater. That was a piss missile. That was an absolute rocket. There was no tater on that. That was a line drive out of the park. That was insane. People don't understand how quickly that thing got out. That's not a tater. That's just a missile.
Yeah. By the way, how low Adley got for that grand slam ball was
he and Tony
ridiculous.
Compete for that, I swear. Who can hit the lowest ball out?
You could argue he could have gotten on his knee for that pitch.
Full Adrian Beltre. Oh, an Adrian Beltre style grand slam would have been money.
Absolute fire. But yeah, it's just like this team is so power heavy. Now, again, you have to be consistent, but this team is going to hit homers. And if you are as good at hitting homers as you are, like the Baltimore Orioles, you can get away with sometimes not bringing guys in and runners in scoring position. Now, again, the way you do that is you hit homers with guys on. Exactly. Like, you're going to hit a grand slam every game? No. But 3 triples today, getting guys on base, like, that's the formula. You're going to hit your homers. The Orioles are certainly going to hit their homers. But my favorite part of the game outside of the Adley grand slam, Grayson doing his thing, triples, it seems like they're so quote unquote rare. Like, people like, oh, triples are so rare in baseball, but
3 of them
they're hitting them. They're hitting them. So,
well, and that's a big, I do want to say it's a big testament to just their mindset and their attitude of how they approach the game of baseball. Every single one of them, because Cowser's and Westberg's obviously got a little misplayed by Rosarena there. I'm surprised, honestly, it was given a triple, but even Cedric, they were all doubles. Like, they should have been stand-up doubles, but that doesn't matter to this team. Even Gunnar on his double went about a quarter of the way to third before he stopped. This team doesn't care for doubles. When that ball's in the gap, they're going, okay, can I get to 3? And then if there's anything that tells them that they can, they're going through. You see it from Jorge Mateo. You see it from Gunnar Henderson. And it's almost like this precedent, this bar that is set with, I will say, Gunnar Henderson, because Gunnar Henderson's psychotic. I want people to understand that. Like, you have to be psychotic to do the things that Gunnar Henderson does. He just extends plays in ways that you're like, there's no way you should. Going first to third on that Adley single was stupid. But Gunnar does it, no hesitation. I mean, it's a hard hit ball right to the left field, or Rosarena plays it pretty cleanly. Usually 9 times out of 10, you're not taking third base on that. You're getting stuck at second. You let the next guy go hit. Gunnar says, screw that. I'm taking this damn base. We saw last year Tropicana, the famous triple triple that it was the blooper and a Rosarena just slowly tossed in and Gunnar took third. It's the bar that these guys have set. It's the precedent of every time we have the opportunity to go take another base, we're going to go take another base. And after 162 games, we're going to look back and realize that we scored a hell of a lot more runs than we would have if we didn't.
This is a competitive team. I mean, I think Gunnar kind of sets that tone, Zach. I hear you. And then, I mean, you see, like, even, Cedric being super pissed that he's in that slump, wanting to get out of it, right? You have Grayson with that meme face that's going to probably be pasted across Orioles Twitter for all of time. But this team is competitive. And we've talked about, how we've talked to O's players about, the starting rotation, their little competitive game that they have. It's guys wanting to be great and not like be better than the other guy, but be better than the other guy. Like it's that kind of thing where they're all trying to get to the same place. They have the same goal, and they make winning plays like you talked about with Gunnar and Adley and everybody. So hopefully this is the start of them hitting their stride. I mean, if they had gotten it together in that Toronto series and swept Toronto as well, we could be talking about almost 8 straight wins and 2 straight series against AL East opponents. But still, if you take tomorrow 6 out of 8, 2 straight 4-game sets in a gauntlet, yeah. Santander, yeah, it was. He looked like he saw something. I don't know what it was.
He was disgusted, and that's what I love. He that was a Gunnar Henderson type look. Are you really taking me out of this effing game type look? And that's the passion, like you just said. It's infectious. I saw it up here, bare arms. It's infectious. Everything this team does is infectious, and I think that's what people don't understand. That separates this team from other teams is it's not 3 or 4 guys that are going to beat you. It is 1 through 26 on that roster. Every single one competes with each other. There's a precedent of we are going to give our all every single time we touch that field, whether it is we're up 9-2, whether you are Rhino Hearn in a 3-run game with a guy on first, 2 outs in the 9th. They do not care. They are going to scratch and claw for everything. We saw it happen 2 Blue Jays series ago. All hope is dead. Everything's done. The Orioles are about to be swept for the first time in 105 series. Jordan Westburg gets on with an error. Okay, how's it going to happen? Before you can even consider what might happen, what to do, Adley Rutschman walks it off. It's just this team is never out of it. We joke about the Ryan O'Hearn, like, oh, there was no reason for him to do that. All you did was give us hope. But that's what he did. He gave us hope. And that's what this team does is no matter what the score is, no matter how bad it is, this team gives you hope that they are not out of a ball game until you get all 27 outs.
Yeah, and that's why, we call them the cardiac comeback kids, where they could be down 5-2 in the 8th or, 6-3 in the 9th. And while most teams would be like, all right, well, like we could come back, but are we going to come back?
Never phase.
For the Orioles, it's like, no, we're coming back. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but it's always that belief of like, we can do it. And I think that it rubs off on the fan base, right? Where it's like you see them do it enough times, and it's like, oh yeah, hasn't been a good game. Orioles are down 3-0. The offense has been terrible all game. But hey, guess what? That clutch time is coming up, and I think the Orioles live for that. Like they live for the clutch time. It's almost like they're bored at beginning of games. It's like
Literally.
Well, this
we'll deal with it in the 7th.
Exactly, like kind of just like walking around being like, oh, this is and which, by the way, I'm king procrastinator. But it's like they don't. I mean, they care obviously in the beginning of games, but it's like they have so much belief in their talent where if they have a bad start to the game, like they say, okay, we're gonna do this thing. We can do this thing. And again, it doesn't Doesn't mean they're going to do it every single time, but I think it greatly increases their chances of doing it because they themselves believe. Then on top of that, the fan base believes. And that combined, especially when you get to the Orioles, like when you go to a game at Camden and they're not winning and it's a close enough game, get the rally caps out in the ninth. Like if you're there, you believe because they've shown they can do it. So it's been a really fun journey to watch the whole team buy into that, the fan base buy into that. And I don't know. It's been a fun journey. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. And, it's been a really fun journey. It's been an incredible journey. And we talk about how talented this team is. Kevin, do you know who hit another double in AAA after hitting a home run yesterday?
Would that be Mr. Jackson Halliday?
Yeah. Also happens to be the number one prospect in baseball, getting his swagger back in AAA. We've talked about how deep this team is, how much talent this team has. They aren't even scratching the surface. Yeah. There's so much that this team can do and so much they can improve on. And it's not even saying that there needs to be improvements, but they just have it. They're not made. There are no major holes in this team, in this roster, but you just have so much depth where you're like, it's going to just keep getting better. The Kobe Mayos, the Heston Kjerstad, shout out Joe, the Jackson Holidays. Jackson Holiday feels like a forgotten guy right now.
He does.
We were begging for this man to be up, and now it's like, if we're winning, let Jackson. I see people like, let him just come up next year. What would we have said about bring him up next year during spring training, during those first few weeks? People would have burned the warehouse down if the Orioles said that. But right now it just feels like, we have so much going right. We don't really need him. But when the time comes, I'm telling you, Jackson's going to be a big part of this playoff run. He's going to be a big part of this playoff run. And I think he's going to be a vital part. I think he's going to come up with moments that make you go, this is Jackson Holiday. We've had this is Gunnar Henderson. We had another holy crap, Adley Rutschman. I don't even know what to even say about Adley anymore. I don't know what to say about Gunnar anymore because every time I think I find the words to describe how much they mean to this team, they just go out and do it again. Yeah, they are our sunshine. And Don, I can't even forget Sam Basayo. Sam Basayo might be the best of all of them. That's what's scary, Kevin. That's what's scary is I just forgot Sam Basayo after naming 3 other top 15 prospects in the world in the majors. And Sam Basayo is a very good chance to be better than all of them. He's going to be the number one prospect in baseball. It's just a matter of time. He's going to be that next power hitter in Baltimore that you got to walk, that you can't pitch to. It's insane that they just have so much.
Yeah, and they're in a perfect spot with, I think, all of their young guys, because when Jackson got sent down, it was okay. Well, what if Mateo what if he struggles? What if Ramon Arias can't get the job done? Well, is Jackson going to have to get fast tracked again? And what's that going to do for, the path that he's on? Well, now you have Mateo, who has been incredible. Arias has found his swing over the last couple of weeks. And all of a sudden, you don't feel any need to rush Jackson back. And while we all know the player Jackson is, the player Jackson can be, you talk about all the other guys down in that farm system, which, again, yes, a lot of them do deserve to be on MLB rosters right now. But if you are in a situation where you want to squeeze every ounce of development you can out of a guy, I mean, that's the Orioles in a nutshell, where it is overcrowded in a lot of positions. It's a great problem to have. And eventually, I think we are going to have to talk about, how can they consolidate their prospects in order to get more talent on the big league club? Because that's just, these guys deserve spots. And I think the mindset that Connor Norby had, which he told, I forget the article it was, but he said, look, he said, I know I'm a good AAA player, but I want to be a good big league player. A lot of those other guys down there have that exact same mindset. But for now, you can evaluate where you are, what veteran talent you want to keep around, and where you want to infuse some more youth. And I think when we're talking about this team in 2 or 3 years, a lot of those decisions will already be made. They will, of course, have other prospects who have come in at that point. But you don't have to rush any of these guys. Where I think for a
Mhm.
lot of these other teams, if they have a couple of like if teams had the starting pitching injuries the Orioles had, Povich would have been out a long time ago
So long
because
ago.
because of the depth. Whereas, it took a while to finally get Povich, and there's arguably when everybody's healthy, they don't really need him. they could
Yeah.
send him back down if they needed to. So it just speaks to how deep they are, what good of a spot they're in, because sometimes with prospect timelines, it can get messed up when not enough development is put into the player in the minor league system. Now, I do think that some of the guys in AAA don't really need to be there anymore. Multiple of those
Yeah.
guys don't need to be there anymore. But it's still a great problem to have if you're the Orioles and if you're Mike Elias, especially when it comes to the trade deadline and you can go prospect for prospect with any team and practically get whoever you want depending on what you want to give up.
Yeah. And, Kevin, before we get out of here, we always do this, I feel like, after losses. But I want to get it while the vibes are high. In the comments, let us know 1 through 10. Where's your confidence level in the Baltimore Orioles? We do this after losses, and people are in the sixes, the 6.5, 5.5 to 6.5. Kevin, I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna tell it like it is. I'm sitting 9.5. The way that I'm viewing this team right now is go get one more piece, go get that guy, go get that final player that completes this team, and go win the damn thing. Go win the damn thing. Because I can tell you, we're talking about talented teams. There are, I think, 5 now National League teams that are above 500. No team in the MLB, no division is as close as the AL East. The MLB is not as deep as people think. It is very top heavy right now, it seems, and there are teams that you can kind of predict are going to be there at the end, and the Baltimore Orioles are right up there. The Baltimore Orioles, there's no reason the Orioles should not be in the ALCS. There's absolutely no reason. And if they run into the Yankees before them, we'll see. But I've said it before. It feels like this year is coming down to Orioles, Yankees. Winner goes on to the World Series, whether that happens in the ALDS, ALCS. It just feels like those two teams are destined to fight it out in the playoffs. And I'm telling you this right now. We're talking about confidence level. They go get another guy. I'm taking the Orioles 9 times out of 10. That doesn't mean I think that the Orioles are going to go in and whoop the Yankees' ass. But as Buck Showalter would say, I like our guys. I like our guys, and I will put up this team against any other team in a 7-game series and say that they'll take 4.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely at least a 9. It could even go higher. I think for me, what would get that to an absolute 10, like, okay, yeah, this is like it is if they just dominate the rest of this month. There are a lot of tough series coming up. It's on barely, literally 1 day of rest the entire month. They've already shown that they can go toe-to-toe with the best. For me, what would get my confidence level even higher? Continuous offensive consistency, continuous bullpen consistency. The bullpen's getting there. Bullpen is getting there. The offense certainly is too. We know the starters have been consistent all season, but in my opinion, again, you go get that bullpen arm, you kind of you iron out those concerns over the course of the rest of the last couple of months before the playoffs start here. And you're looking at a team that had the experience of going to the playoffs last year, got swept, right? That was a very young team. I think that's good. Sucked in the moment, right? Obviously, when you watch your team get swept like that. But for a lot of these teams, especially young ones, you need to fail first before you succeed. And Baltimore got that. They learned, what it's like to fail in the playoffs, right? It's different. When you lose 90 games, 100 games, that's failure, but it's a different type of failure. When you get to the playoffs and you lose, that's a different type of failure. It's a different type of hurt. It's a different type of pain. And regardless of if, you're a 10-year MLB vet, you're a rookie, you're a second, whatever timeline you're on, that hurts. So I think, in my opinion, with Baltimore, they're such a well-rounded team when they're fully on. I just want to see them continue to be fully on, like we saw today. This was an all-around win. offense, bullpen, Grayson as the starter. That's what I want to see consistently moving forward. You want to talk about consistency, Zach, on the mound tomorrow is Mr. Consistent himself in Corbin Burns. So hopefully that gives them a sweep. And hopefully not, I think my stomach is not going to like it, but hopefully I'll be on here eating some spicy pickles, which would be content. I'll tell you that.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it. And Sam said Kyle Finnegan, who is the closer for the Nationals right now. Listen, the weird thing, and this is what sucks for the Orioles, the weird thing about trading with the National League right now is, the Nationals are 30-5, or 30-35. 30-5, that would have been a hell of a record. They are 30-35, but all the wild card teams in the NL are under 500. Like, it's going to suck this year because too many teams are going to have false hope that they can do something. So it's really going to, if you're the Orioles, you're hoping 2 or 3 more teams in the NL really step it up and just take that thing away so that people will start selling. Because if there's this weird false hope that all these guys are still in it, if they're really in the National League, in all of baseball, really, because even the American League aren't that many top dogs. There may be 3-4 teams that you're thinking they're definitely out of it. Besides that, there are 26 teams right now, I would say, that think that they're in this. So it's going to be extremely interesting. I've seen a few people talking about Tanner Scott. If you've listened to the show, you know how I feel. I want Tanner Scott back in the Baltimore Orioles uniform more than anything. I want Tanner Scott back here so badly. He was my baby. He was supposed to take us to the promised land, Kevin, when he was here the first time. For years, I just waited for Tanner Scott to finally be our closer and get us. He was supposed to be the next Zach Britton for us. So if we get Tanner Scott back, man, I'd be doing laps around the studio. So any final thoughts, Kevin? Anything before we wrap out here? We're hitting an hour, so
I got some Locked On NFL to record in about 5 minutes. So perfect timing wrapping up the show, Zach.
Yeah,
look at that.
Perfect. Hey, it's what I do,
Yeah, and you have that sixth sense, right? You know
it's up there.
You know
it's like Gunnar running the bases. I have it timed out. It's just second nature. I know when we got to wrap it up.
I know. So no, I mean, look, incredible game. Vibes are immaculate right now, for being honest. Just incredibly high. Get even higher though. Orioles sweep tomorrow. That's going to be immaculate. I think we're doing 2 streams, if I'm not mistaken, right, Zach?
2, possibly. Well, would it be 3, including this?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because we'll do normal, we'll do post game, and then we'll have our special.
Well, is that one a special? We'll talk after this, but that might be just one. We might just make it all.
So maybe multiple
2
streams tomorrow.
There's 2 to 3 streams coming tomorrow.
You'll be seeing a lot of us tomorrow. is what, and actually that will be, I believe, the last in studio show before Ryan gets back. So for those asking, where's Ryan?
And he
will be back on Thursday. But in studio he'll be back. But that will be
but he
exciting time to reintroduce Ryan to our show and see get him updated on all the changes we've made while he's been gone. So
the show's no longer the Ryan Ripken show. It's prom.
Yep. Literally.
Have a Sunday, everyone. Just have a Sunday. Those are my final words. Just have a Sunday. Tomorrow's stream, actually, to see a few people. The first one will start at 12 o'clock Eastern time.
So
that's
early.
When we will be having our guests.
Early.
Yeah, Kevin's going to hate that. But tomorrow, 12 p.m., noon, we'll have our guests on. And I think it's going to be a fun one.
I got to go to bed before 4 a.m. tomorrow.
I know. You're going to have to get some sleep.
Got to go. I got to get the 2:30. But Sunday is my busiest day, so I don't know. I might show up to that studio.
No sleep?
I wouldn't say no sleep, but
close to it.
Yeah, close to it.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for us. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. The Orioles win 9-2, 3 straight wins against the Tampa Bay Rays. Going for the sweep tomorrow. It's BYOB. Bring your own broom. We'll be back at it after the game tomorrow. Win or lose, We'll also be going live, as we just said, at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. So be sure to join them. Like and subscribe if you're not already, and have a Sunday Birdland. How can you not be romantic about Baltimore Orioles baseball? Kevin, we'll see him tomorrow.